Hi everyone. In this video, we'll be continuing our journey into exploring CelerData BYOC. In our previous segment, we introduced the data control plane and the ways BYOC is set up for your enterprise's success. Now, we'll take a closer look at the cluster page with our built-in SQL Editor and monitoring tools that every CelerData customer receives to garner real-time insights about their data. From the cluster overview page, we can click Open Cluster, type in our user and password, and we'll be greeted by the main splash page for the editor, some tabs on top, and a section on the left with some drop-downs. Let's go through each of these sections. On the left, we first see the catalog drop-down. Every cluster comes with a default catalog called default catalog, and any additional catalogs can be created with the create catalog command. In this specific cluster, I also happen to have an external Iceberg catalog connected via glue. CelerData supports a plethora of external catalogs like Hudi, Delta Lake, Iceberg, and JDBC to name a few. Further down, we can select our database within the catalog and filter through all of our tables, views, and materialized views. In the middle, we can see our SQL Editor with some sample tables I've created for this demo. I'm using a simple students and courses example with a join on courses and students to see what classes each student is taking. Let's run that query. The result appears at the bottom, and we see Bob, Alice, Charlie, and their enrollments for classes. Moving to the data catalog page, we see all the catalogs that can exist in our database at this point. As you add or remove them, you'll see it updated here. We can also delete or make comments about what each catalog does. Further right, we now land on the query history page. Here we can see granular information about all our queries historically. We can filter by the coordinator node in question, by query ID, filter duration, user, the way the query was executed, the status of the query, which warehouse we used, and the time range. On any one of these rows, we see the start time of the query, the unique ID assigned to it, whether it was successful, the warehouse it served under, and the duration access information. To further serve our users, if we click on any of the queries, we can get a query profile, or in other words, how our query was executed in real time against nodes. Let's click on the join we just ran. On this new page, we see the same query overview that we observed on the last page, but with an additional tab called Query Profile. Let's click it. On our page now is a directed acyclic graph representation of our query. On the left, we can see things like time allocation as the query plan executed, and the memory allocation. For example, this OLAP scan at the top took a decent amount of time to execute. If we click on it, on the right-hand side, we see more information about our query, such as CPU time, scan time, and read-write information. Node Detail offers an intricate node analysis of query execution, and the Pipeline tab offers a per-fragment analysis of execution. Notice our familiar backend addresses. Of course, this is a lot of information, but given we're CelerData customers, our solutions architects and customer support representatives are here to help us diagnose any query profiling issues we may run into or answer any questions we may have about our setup. Let's jump to the Monitoring tab. Here we see filterable graphs at the instance and cluster level that give us a bird's eye view of our data. Information like CPU utilization, memory usage, disk usage, network socket information, read-writes on the instance level, and on the cluster level, useful stats like queries per second, ingestion time, and P90, P95, and P99. And lastly, an Administrator tab, viewable to admins of the cluster, which enhances the query history page as an audit trail. And that's it for the cluster page. We hope this gave you a brief insight into what our cluster page has to offer. If you have any questions, please visit the CelerData.com website or speak to one of our data professionals. Thank you.